Good evening. We will call our Monday, March 23rd, 2026 City Commission meeting to order. Would you please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance? Heavenly Father, we come before you today to do the business of the city. We ask that every voice be expressed and heard with dignity, respect, and understanding. Guide our discussions and our decisions so that they continue to lead to economic growth, opportunity, and prosperity for our community now and for generations to come. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have proclamations today to designate April as our Water Conservation Month. Do I go up this way? Somebody come in? I know. Mr. Purvis, would you please come forward? Do I need to stand and read it to him or just read it from here?
Just read it from
Okay.
here and then you read it to him.
Okay, if you would just stand, I'll read it from here, please. Whereas water is a basic, essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida, water management districts, and local governments are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Leesburg and the state of Florida have once again designated April, typically a dry month, when water demands are most acute, as Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help safeguard Florida's precious water resources, and whereas the city of Leesburg encourages and supports water conservation through a variety of educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make positive contributions to decrease water use and protect Florida's resources, thus promoting a healthy environment, economy, and community. And whereas outdoor irrigation comprises a large portion of water use, and the city of Leesburg encourages citizens and businesses to focus on improving outdoor irrigation efficiency, and whereas 2026 marks the 28th anniversary of Water Conservation Month in Florida and its important message about the significance of a clean, safe, reliable, and sustainable supply of water. Now, therefore, I, Allison E. Berry, Mayor of the City of Leesburg, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Water Conservation Month and call upon all members of our community to help preserve this precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. Thank you.
Pam's going to take your own picture too.
We have presentations from Lake Sumter, MPO update, and local roads and intersections.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Mike Woods, Director of Lake Sumter MPO. I've got a brief presentation, and I'd be happy to answer questions afterwards. So, do we have a clicker? Oh. So I'm going to talk about our 2050 long-range transportation plan. We just adopted that in December. It's federally mandated. We update that every 5 years. Our 2026 call for projects, that's how we implement the plan. We do a call for projects from all our partners, and we submit that to DOT on an annual basis, and that's how they develop the funded 5-year work program. I'm going to talk about a new tool we developed, Transportation Improvement Program Dashboard. The TIP is our 5-year funded program. We approve that every year. Right now, it's about $1.5 billion for the next 5 years. I've got a couple slides on impact of growth on our transportation network, and then I'll finish with our Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. We partnered with UCF, the Civil Engineering Department, and we did a 10-year and a 5-year analysis of all the crash data in Lake and Sumter counties and a countermeasure plan to help resolve that. Okay, let's start with the long-range plan. We just adopted it in December. We did something different this time. It wasn't a vision plan, it's more of an implementation plan. Our top priorities have not moved forward in 5 years. And so we really focused just on our top priority projects, one of them being the US 441 and Leesburg project, our number 2 project. And we implemented those projects that are planned and nothing else. We were able to fund 13 of our top 20 projects. We are able to fund 14 projects through some phase, but not through construction. And we have a new funding source, transportation alternative funding. It's federal funds for smaller projects, bike ped, complete streets, safety, technology upgrades. You could enhance a resurfacing project on a county or state highway. So it's $2.5 million a year. It's a good new funding source for us to use. And I'll go through how we're doing that. Let's start with the financials. This shows the difference between 2020, we did this update, and 2025. So 2020 is on the left and 2025 is on the right. There was a difference in $185 million in our revenue forecast. This is the money we can use to plan projects out for the next 20 years. There's also a big difference in the type of money, and I'll go through that next. So state funds, significant decrease in state funding. We went from about $650 million over 20 years to about $161 million. We increased our federal dollars by about 80%. And that does have some consequences for us. Federal dollars are more expensive to spend, especially on county roads. If we haven't done the PD&E or design to meet federal guidelines, we have to go back and redo those before we can move forward with construction or right-of-way phases. So it does have implications moving forward. Then a big increase in the transportation alternative funding, and we're going to use that for our call for projects every year. $2.5 million in federal planning funds for, like I said, complete streets, technology improvements, bike ped, sidewalk gaps. So here's our new long-range plan. And I don't expect you to be able to read this, but we separated each project into each phase and implemented each project as we had funds accumulated in our budget. So this is new. Usually we just put all the projects in a 5-year bucket. You know, we got 31 through 35, 35 through 40, and it gives DOT a lot of leeway of skipping our projects. So we did every project by phase, and so if DOT doesn't want to follow this, they have to tell us why and get us to amend our plan. So we're kind of holding their feet to the fire on funding our plan. So here's our 26 list of priority projects. This is how we implement the plan. We give DOT a wish list. Here's our top priority projects. Your 441 project is number 3 right there. We could fund that in 2033. So we adopted this in December. A lot's happened since then. So for State Road 44 in Mount Dora, the county loaned DOT $10 million, and they're going to implement half that project this fiscal year and probably move the rest of it forward way before 2032. State Road 19, the Groveland project, from State Road 50 to 455. DOT just announced that project is funded for PD&E and design in this fiscal year. So we move that one forward. The US 301 corridor enhancements in downtown Wildwood. The city loaned or donated $5 million to the department to move that project forward. It's a resurfacing project, but we enhanced it with 3 roundabouts, mid-block crossings, and big wide sidewalks on both sides. A nice main street for City of Wildwood, which is now the 3rd largest city in Lake and Sumter County, right behind you guys. So going to your project, number 3 there. So we were able to fund that for construction in 2033. I think that project, I think it was 2008, we first designed that project.
They were buying property in 2003.
Right. Then we had to turn it down, I think, for utilities. We tried to bring it back in 2014 or 15, but it's going to need a reevaluation. We just resurfaced that whole section. It looks really nice right now. They're working on the turn for Dixie there, so they're doing a lot of improvements. And I guess I asked the city, would you be willing to help finance the reevaluation? It's probably going to be about $1.8 million. Look at the design, see if the design still fits what's out there today and what you see in the future there. We have the citrus plant closing down. Is that something that's going to affect this roadway? Do we want to look at the design for that? So that's kind of question. It's not immediate, but we need to start talking about that. And then, does the city want to advance that project? Do we want it? Is it still your top priority? Do we want to advance that with some local funds, get it implemented in 2029 or 2030? Is that something that's desirable to the city? You don't need to answer me now. Just something we should talk about with the department. But first phase is, let's get the reevaluation moving forward. Oh, I'm sorry. This is you can probably see this one better. By the time we get number 5 funded, we'll be updating this plan again. And so this was a short-term implementation plan to get our top priorities on the books and funded. And so far, it's worked really well with the infusion of local funds. The rest of the list, there's 4 county projects in Sumter, US 441 in Mount Dora, and Wellness Way in South Lake. So that's our 2026 list of priority projects, and it probably won't change for a couple of years. So we're also going to do a call for project for the TA funds, really specialized funds, federal dollars, like I said, sidewalk gaps, median improvements, access management, existing roadway enhancement, safety, operations, technology improvements, complete streets, trail projects. This is not for capacity. And the money is coming in 2032, the new 5th year of our funded work program. So it's out there a ways. And this will happen every year. We'll have $2.5 million every single year. And the call for project is going on right now. So we opened it in January. We're looking for applications through March. We'll have a draft for the board to look at in April and a final in June. So.
May I go ask a question?
Please.
Go back one slide.
Sure.
It surprises me. Well, it surprises me that State Road 27 is not on here, south of Leesburg. I mean, we get a lot of complaints about it. I drive all over the county, Central Florida, and it is not a. It's it's a mess. I don't even know how to describe it. I just bring it up. It's not a criticism. I just bring it up for discussion. It just surprises me. It's not even on the 10-year, 15-year radar. I mean, that's got to be corrected in some form or fashion.
Yeah. So that's a question. What are your top priorities moving forward? So these are kind of legacy projects we're trying to get funded. They've been on our books for this project, 12 years. It's consistently been voted as a top priority.
Yeah,
So
the 441, I mean, that's been talked about. You said, 2003? I remember the state bought all the land. And it helped me out. Jimmy was our liaison to MPO. It was on the MPO 5-year plan, then it fell off.
No, it's always.
I thought it was off and on. Okay.
It's a long process.
Okay. Yeah. I just look up here. I'm just surprised Leesburg doesn't have more on the radar. And that's not directed at you. It's just the whole system. So
we're going to talk about that a couple slides.
okay, great. Thank you very much.
And that's the point of this. We need to talk about what are the priorities moving forward.
Yeah, and okay, and that's what I was saying. I got big eye when I did not see 27 up there, so I'll stop right there.
So, so we've been doing this list of priority projects for a long time. It used to be like $1 billion list. Every year we'd submit $1 billion list to DOT and they'd kind of scratch their head. So, hey, we got 20 million we can spend. So we have a lot of projects we already cataloged, probably for you, on some of the table lists: safety and operation, TISMO, complete streets, trail projects, bike bed. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've been collecting projects from our partners for years and years, so you can use that. Okay, let's move on to a new tool we developed. So I'm sure your constituents want to know what's going on right now. So this is our transportation improvement dashboard. It's one page. This is the whole thing. It's an interactive dashboard. This is every funded project in Lake and Sumter County right now that are using state and federal dollars. 140 projects right now. On the far left, that's all 140 projects. You can scroll that list, click on it, expand it. All the data is right there. What years things funded, funding types, when is it funded? The map. You can zoom in, zoom out of the map. And as you zoom in and say you focus on Leesburg, the middle column on the left of the map will just list the projects that are in your map extent. So you can focus on Leesburg. Here's what's funding quickly. It's a great tool. It's always updated. We amend our tip probably every meeting. So I have a toggle switch that adopted and draft. So if we have an amendment coming up in April, you can see what that amendment's going to be. And so it's pretty transparent and easy tool to use. We have a video, about 2.5-minute video, training video, how to use it, how to make it your tool. You can expand in each little section. You can make bigger or smaller, to meet your needs. It's a great tool. You can always be up to date with your citizens when they ask you questions. So here's some of the impacts of growth and population increase in our area. And this is from DOT. Looking at the volume to capacity ratio in our network, increases in employment, increases in population. The three big areas that DOT says are concerning are South Lake and Mineola, Claremont and Mineola, Southwest Villages and Wildwood area, and north of Leesburg. So you're kind of the epicenter of all the transportation needs and growth in Lake and Sumter County right now. So what you're feeling is you're correct. There's a lot of impacts going on right here. So what's this mean? Our funding is decreasing. Gas tax revenues, our main source of funding for transportation, are on continual decrease. The number of needs are growing, and so D5 is looking for, District 5 DOT is looking for interim improvements, something that improves congestion right now, intersection improvements, technology improvements. We're almost to the point where we need a traffic management center that's manned with traffic experts. They can adjust signals on the fly. So it's going to be a combination of adaptive and manned surveillance of our traffic signals and corridors. We're almost there. We're probably 5 years away from that. But funding is still decreasing, even as our population increases. So they're looking for smaller projects moving forward. So maybe we do the top 5 intersections in the Leesburg area and submit that as a project. Do some safety.
I'll make one comment on that. I mean, I talked about State Road 27, or I guess it's U.S. Highway 20, U.S. Highway 27. If we could fix the intersections at 2748 and 27 Dixie South Street, that's what's causing a big portion of the backlog. Are you saying this funding could become available sooner?
So,
or if we work together?
So it's a partnership, yeah. So it's local funds, state funds, federal funds.
Okay.
And as we fund the top priorities on our 2050 plan, our next one should look different.
Are these ranked right now? the intersection, I mean, these improvements, are they charted like the?
This is what they want us to look at.
Okay, great. I'll be quiet. Thank you.
No, please interrupt all the time. It's great. So we have to be realistic about the funding. And so we have to design a new set of projects moving forward. And I got a new tool for that too. We're going to show that next. That State Road 19 project, Groveland, that's our #1 freight project in Lake County. We got that one moving forward. 20% truck traffic on 19. I did a little study in Webster, 471. We did try to do a complete street project there. 45% truck traffic on that road. But so we were able to fund the #1 freight project for Sumter, the interchange at County Road 514 near Coleman. This is going to service the Monarch Ranch industrial complex, 7,000 acres of trucking and logistics. So big project down there. We're able to get that. The PD&E is getting finished this month right now and go right into design. So it's a big project for Sumter and big project for our region here. This will be like an inland port. It's had access to Turnpike, 75, to CSX. So it's a big deal. It's really going to be big for our region. We're still working on 75 from Wildwood North. They're building the auxiliary lanes right now. Then the next stage of improvement there is they're going to look at the median, special use lanes in the median at 75. That's the next improvement for that section there. So we go right into safety. So UCF approached us and they wanted to partner with us. We're kind of a unique area, fast-growing, rural roadway network, large population of seniors. So we're a pretty desirable place to study. We've had 3 or 4 projects with UCF, and one of them is our Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. And so they studied the 10-year and 5-year historic crash data for both Lake and Sumter County for all the roadways. And we did a policy element in our long-range plan. And we're looking at the fatal and serious injury crashes and how can we reduce those. So here's and we're presenting this in April as a draft to the committees and board. It's April 8th for committees and April 22nd for the board. It's a draft. We'll come back in June for final approval. But the numbers aren't great. So right now our fatal and serious injury crashes are about 4.4% of our total crashes. That beats the state average of 2.4%. It beats Orange County, which is 3.1%. So we have an issue with safety, and so it's something we have to address with our planning moving forward. The types of crashes, there's 4 types of crashes that constitute 85% of the crashes. Run-off road, left-hand turn, rear ends, and angles. And those are rural roadway crashes usually. And we have about 70% of our network is rural, and so we have a rural roadway network problem. And we're beating the state average on that. So we're identifying 3 types of 3 elements of the network: corridors, segments, and intersections. So segment is just a smaller part of a corridor. So we're identifying the high injury network. We'll be able to use this in our planning efforts. We're going to take our congestion management process, which is our traffic data, volume data, combine it with the safety data, and come up with, we can identify all the hot spots in our area and do countermeasures to help fix that. So here's the corridors. You can see in Leesburg, quite a few in Leesburg. The whole county is, we have problems all through the county. Here's the intersections. The top 10 worst intersections in the area, all in Sumter County. So for every corridor, segment, and intersection, we come up with a countermeasure strategy, how to fix it for every one. And it's all going to be contained in the Vision Zero dashboard, kind of like the TIP dashboard. It's all going to be right here. One page. We have all the data, easy access. All we need is the money to implement. And what's the schedule? So we did the call for projects in January. We're taking the applications right now. In April, we're going to have a draft LOP. We're going to have the draft congestion management process tool. We're going to have the draft transportation improvement program. So a lot of things coming before the board in April. We'll go for public review in May and final adoption in June. So I know I said a lot of different things. So any questions or clarifications?
No, thank you. It was very informative. I've been on the commission, 7 years. I think it was only the second time I've seen this presentation, so I do appreciate it. Leesburg residents are complaining a lot about traffic, and I'm not going to get long-winded, but I do drive all over the county, and it just seems like it surprises me that 441 and 27 aren't higher up. And I know that's not your fault. I'm just saying it really surprises me. Just someone at my level who's in the trenches driving around the county all the time. And I'll stop right there. But I do appreciate your efforts.
So there was an issue district-wide that our model's not completed yet. We have a traffic forecast model, the CFRPM. It's not done yet. It's a year late. And so we're probably gonna wrap that up in June. And so we were doing our new long-range plan without the model, which is unusual. So we'll have that now, and we'll be able to move forward as soon as that's done, and working on a new list of priority projects.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Woods, I have a question. So in order if Highway 27 has been a major concern and complaints, how do we get that on the listing if this is the list of projects now and the same dollar amount will be allocated again for next year, correct? Or is that what we're concerned about, the funding?
27 would be a capacity project. So right now, like I said, we're funding the top priorities, probably the number 2, 3, 4. But we should probably amend our long-range plan and look at it again. Our goal this time was to get these legacy projects off our list. But if that's not the priority of the region, we need to change it then. So our goal is to fund these legacy projects that have been top of our list since I've been there, and start fresh next time. So and bring some more money to the table. So be a partner with DOT. Yes, sir.
Mike, could you go back to the slide where you had the circles?
Yeah.
Kind of the Fruitland Park, then the village? Yes. So say again exactly what this represents,
So this is a demographic representation of impacts to our transportation system based on volume to capacity ratios on existing highways, employment, increases in employment, and increase in population in these areas. And this is areas that concern DOT and the MPO.
So if I'm looking at this, 27 south of Leesburg is not a problem, according to this. Is that correct?
On a bigger picture, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is really an important point, okay? Because so I'm not advocating we have traffic problems or don't have traffic problems with this statement, but I think it's one that everybody in the room needs to at least have a perspective on and what we're battling against. So we're battling against growth in the region. We're battling a road network in the region, and we're leaning on the state for funds to improve the roadways as these get bad. And so all those things are in conflict with each other, obviously. The state doesn't have enough money to go around to fix roads, and they're focusing on areas in the region that are the worst first. So if you look at the map, let me take your clicker. Stop. You know, so so what we don't want to see on the map is the yellow and the red segments, right? That's where we're identified as bad areas. So what we have in Leesburg is historically bad areas that we've always talked about. Right in here, Singletary Park, and then of course the ever popular 27, 48, or 44 South Dixie interchange. So these have been a problem forever. So all the PUDs, all the growth areas that we've talked about are outside of this circle. So obviously this circle is intensified by Villages growth. Same with this circle. And then this circle down in South County, Orlando growth. So that's not saying we don't have problems in the future, but it's saying for right now, pretty much our segment of 27 this is our, you know, so our ISPA is coming down into this area, right? Down into these little dots, which almost represents, this is the interchange here, right? 19, so the little medical clinic is right here about that red dot that everybody knows, right? So we got green sailing along this tributary until we get up to this area. So again, that's been a historical problem. So when you take these problems and you put it into the region where there's higher priority issues, you see that. And then you see as well that 441, that the 441 widening project, which is this segment right here, is still green. So, you know, it's been a project that's been on the books since '03. I would probably argue that the city killed it in '08, and the city brought it back. And Bob Bone was really instrumental in the one talking to the commission about making it a priority again, and that happened 14-15 timeframe, to where we did update our PD&Es for water, sewer, electric relocations. And so that project has always been on the books since we brought it back, but I would argue that it hasn't really made it to the top because at the end it constantly gets beat out by other problem areas, 466 Villages, 441 Mount Dora. So I would look at that map completely different. You know, I wouldn't say we have humongous traffic issues. I say it's a concern, but I think when you take the Lake and Sumter region and you look at it cumulatively with the limited funds, there's other pressing issues. That's why 27 and Dixie get passed up. That's why Singletary Park, that gets passed up, because those funds are going other places for now.
And I'm repeating myself, but if we could fix the intersections, that would solve a lot of it. I mean,
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll stop right there. I won't go down that path. Okay.
One other question, Mike. You talked about traffic signalization. Is that something that could potentially fall in that $2.5 million? So, we want to be the pilot project.
So we did a gap analysis in our long-range plan, or TSMO element, traffic systems management operation. That's the new term for technology upgrades. So we mapped the gap analysis, where we need fiber. You've got a TSMO project right now north of Leesburg on 441-27. They're probably filling the gap, and they're doing new signal hardware, I'm sure. They don't advertise a lot of what they do, but they're upgrading equipment. And that should be one of our main priorities moving forward. That, and start discussion on the traffic management center, where we have some control of what's going on.
Will you go back to that one, that slide again?
Which one?
The one more back, the circle one.
Okay.
So this is 50 here. Is that right?
Yeah. So
This is 50.
yeah. So the big
That's why. So this is 27.
right.
So that's why.
No,
I
that's
wanted to bring
30.
that
That's
to your-
33. That's
This
30.
is-
That's 33. Yeah.
33.
This is 33.
Yeah.
Okay. This is 27.
Yeah.
And this is 50.
Yep.
Okay.
So the big yellow swath,
Yeah, so that's where 33 is an issue,
We're doing that-
south of 50.
we have a project in there right now. And then on 50 also, in Sumter County, we're 4-lane 50 all the way from Hernando County to Mascot. And we're in phase 3 of 4 phases, so we're almost into Lake County right now, fully funded. That's what took over in 2015. We agreed to the state priority in 2015, so.
Mike, I do have something to say. I
Sure.
mean, I've listened to everything up here tonight. There is a traffic problem on 27
Yeah.
from 48 down to Dixie, especially in peak hours. There is a problem there, north and southbound. If there's an accident, forget about it. There's no way to bypass that stretch. That's just a complete bottleneck from South Leesburg into, if you want to refer to it, older Leesburg. There's no way to bypass it. And the more traffic is going to be added to that stretch of road through annexation is just going to magnify this problem more and more and more. I do think that it's a project it's worthwhile to look at. I don't know how you really fix it. I mean, you can't really widen the road in some parts. I mean, you'd be in a lake. I mean, the best way to fix it is to create a bypass across Lake Harris, but that's not going to happen, I'm sure. But that would alleviate a lot of the issues. But there is a major traffic issue there. And like I said, there's no way to bypass it with any type of accidents or anything else. And like I said, that road's going to continue to get busier and busier. So I'm not sure what we would need to do to get it more of a priority on y'all's radar to retake a look at that strip.
So we did analysis there, 2018 maybe. I think we recommended a roundabout at 44 and 27, and or Main Street and 27, and some other improvement. A lot of it was enhancements, though. But I think technology is going to be our friend on that corridor. You know, make sure we fixed all the gaps and have the latest traffic signal equipment. That's going to be our fix, especially when there's no place to go. And a bypass is not feasible at this point. So,
I mean, there's one other intersection too. It's still the 27 in Dixie, but on Dixie, coming up on Dixie to turn left, if you will, to go south on 27, that turn lane is terrible. I mean, you can sit there at the intersection 10, 12 minutes just to get through the turn.
it's been bad for quite a while.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Do you understand you say that the state decreased funding,
So funding is decreasing, not the state
increasing?
decreasing.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay, that,
So gas tax is just on a continual downward spiral. So, I mean,
Okay.
Electric vehicles.
our cars get better mileage than they used to. So,
okay. Okay, I just want to be sure I was clear on that. Okay.
so state gas tax is indexed to inflation. Federal gas tax is not. That's
And
probably
that's like been a phenomena-ish since like COVID. I think like COVID is probably the first
they've
time.
never indexed federal gas tax
Yeah.
since '92. So,
COVID is, I think, where we started seeing sales tax and gas taxes started dipping because people stayed home, and it kind of never really rebounded after that. So gas taxes had always been a growing revenue source in reconstruction, but I would say the last, at least since COVID, at least we've seen that those gas tax dollars are not elastic; they've been shrinking.
one last note: County Road 44. You know, there's an active project on there right now. It's in your packet. I provided that. So they're adding safety. It's a safety project. I couldn't find any information on the Lake County website, but there's a study on there, and they're under their complete studies on the engineering section, and they detail what they're going to do. It goes from numerous left-hand turn lanes to paved shoulders, clearing and grubbing to the right-of-way line, better signage, and so they're doing it's $2.7 million federal dollars, $72,000 in local funds, so improvements on that one. So I remember we tried to 4-lane that 10 years ago. It's $100 million. I don't think it's ever going to happen at this point. So it's going to need technology improvements and more left-hand turns, maybe a few 3-lane sections or something. But it's constrained by the electric poles in there, so.
And I think if there's anything I can underscore, especially Commissioner Cannell, I'm not advocating that we don't have a road problem. Okay? That's not what I said. Comparatively, we are at the end of the line because when these datas are shared with the MPO and other people outside our region, and then we have to vote on projects, then we have to vote on limited resources, stuff is getting shifted to priority projects that make the list where you see the yellow and the red. Don't say Minner said that we don't have road problems. Minner said, what Minner's saying is, we have a political issue because our problems aren't as comparatively bad as the region. Therefore, when the region through the MPO votes on priority projects, our projects don't get as much weight because they're not yellow and red. They're not supported by an equivalent population base. Yes. And it's limited dollars. So that means even though we're annexing all this stuff, our population base hasn't grown to where we're going to pull dollars away from South County or the villages.
Right.
That's the problem.
Can I use that? That's good.
I would say adding additional property to the city, which is adding, in the long run, more traffic, does create more of a problem.
I'll stop.
Any other questions? Thank you. It's been very engaging. Thank you.
Mr. Wood,
Thank you, Mike.
Frank Stanfield, Star Magazine. So is it the problem of the legislature not fixing the gas tax, or the governor, or what is the issue?
So the state gas tax is fine. It's indexed to CIP. The reason for the reduction in the state funds was moving Florida forward, a big initiative by Governor DeSantis. I mean, we were beneficiary of that. 301, I-75, 24 projects across the state, $7 billion. Took all the state revenues, took all the reserves, and so that's why our state dollars are down. But we got 24 really needed projects. They got fast-tracked, to construction phase. So.
I guess, is it just not meeting the?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The second part, the federal gas tax is not indexed to inflation.
Okay.
It never has been since it was created in 1992. So we've lost about 40% of our buying power for federal gas tax.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woods.
I'd be
Very
happy to come back
informative.
at your pleasure. So.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move forward with public comments. The public may bring matters to the City Commission's attention. Please note that issues raised during this time will not be discussed, but your comments will be referred to the appropriate staff or scheduled for consideration for future City Commission meeting. If you're speaking about an item that will be considered later in this meeting, your comments will be heard during public hearings. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes. Kindly adhere to this time limit to ensure equal opportunity for all participants. Thank you. Are there any public comments? Please state your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mario Napa. I live in Legacy of Leesburg. Mayor, I want to make a request related to the proceedings later on. Mayor Barry has received 3 letters from the Lake County Commissioners, and the remaining commissioners here received emails regarding the 3 applications scheduled for consideration this evening. I respectfully request that these recommendations be read prior to the vote on each of them. If that is not preferred, I have obtained the letters from the Commissioner Smith and the county attorney to read them during the public comment portion. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Max Parker. Address is 7822 Slowood Drive, Leesburg. I just want to come to do a couple of things. I want to thank the city of Leesburg for 2 events we had downtown. The first one was on March the 8th. We was granted permission to have a celebration birthday, 100-year birthday for Miss Agnes Berry. at that event. It was it was supported well for the city and a lot of participants. We had, also want to thank the Deputy City Manager and Commissioner Bory and also Commissioner Risman for their support. Also during this time, I also like to thank Travis and his team of Ray and Tim for what they do. Thank you for setting up and everything. The second event was this past Saturday. We had an event of VMAX for One Community. We brought a nonprofit organization from Spring Hill. They brought in a lot of people, a lot of talented young people that also executed very well on the stage. I'm suffering with a cold, so I apologize for my voice. So at the same time, this event, we want to thank the businesses of 3rd and Market and also Main Street for allowing us to have the event there. It was well attended. The folks from Spring Hill, majority of them had never been to Leesburg before. So they enjoyed downtown Leesburg, they spent some money here, and they enjoyed going back to Spring Hill, talking positive about this great city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any more comments, please? Moving forward to our consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If the commission staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. 1, pull the items from the consent agenda. 2, vote on remaining items with 1 roll call. And 3, discuss each pulled item and vote by roll call. Are there any items that the commission would like to see pulled at this time?
5C6 and 5C9.
And I would like to see. I think there was one more, 5C6, 5C9, and, excuse me 1 second. 5C10. And, yeah, I think that's it.
Make a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda.
Thank you. Just a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Bury?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Would someone please introduce?
I'll introduce 5C6 to be read by title only.
City Commission approval of the budget calendar for fiscal year 2026-27, which includes dates for commission workshops.
Move for approval.
Second.
I pulled this. I spoke to Al earlier. I don't know. That was one of the things you never got back with me on.
No Friday meetings.
Okay, so that's been changed?
No, that's not, that's an administrative note. It's not a meeting note.
Okay, okay.
And so we get the budget out to you on Friday, June 26th, meaning you'll get an email or you'll get a draft document.
Okay.
That's not a meeting.
Is there any? That was your only comment to various, okay. Can we get someone to introduce, roll call, please, excuse me.
Commissioner Bury?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Would someone please introduce the next?
I'll introduce 5C9 to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a road transfer agreement between the City of Leesburg and Lake County and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Yes. I spoke to Al earlier today about this, and I'm going to let him just open it up and tell us about it, and then I do have a few more questions.
So this agreement is pursuant to the ISBA agreement, the 2013 ISBA agreement. As part of that agreement in the transportation section, the city agreed to annex, or not annex, the city agreed to accept dedication of certain county roads that we would have annexed 50% of the road frontage. So that's a little bit of an oddity in the way the language was written. And we had a public discussion on this several months ago. And pending your feedback to me, that was presented to the county. And these were ultimately the roads pursuant to the ISBA agreement that the city rather needed to adopt. Let me kind of veer off. I think that the greater concern was in the discussion with the county at the time, there was the counties want to shed many of their county road networks. The greatest being those that are major county roads, such as 48, 33, 19, that really doesn't affect Leesburg. But at that time, we internally had that discussion with the county, I think a little bit publicly with you, that the intent of the ISBA was not for the county to shed major, what I'll call arterial roads, like 33, 48. Specifically those roads, because they cut through Leesburg, and some of our development is over them. I think the intent in that was that the county saw through the agreement those roads being county roads. So local roads being city roads to get you from city to city, county roads, or let me say that over, local roads being roads that get you within the city, not city to city, within the city, to a county road. County road gets you city to city, and then obviously state network roads get you outside of that. So 48, 19, 33, those being county roads, I don't think the ISB ever really contemplated that those roads would be shifted. As we reviewed the language in those agreements, and some of the way it was date specific, because much of the annexation, like for example, the county wanted us to adopt all of County Road 48 from 27 to the terminus, which is the county line. Our position, I think we discussed that publicly, was no, that's not our road. Right. And moreover, we already have 50% of that road annexed, and we annexed Secret Promise back in 03 or 06 that already locked in 50% of that. So that agreement came after that. So I think the intent was, county road network. So I think the county ultimately agreed to our interpretation of that, and their road request list pursuant to the ISBA significantly shrunk to roads that aren't regional transportation or arterials. So what was left on the list was the roads that are in your packets, portions of Busby, portions of number 2, portions of Dewey, portions of roads that I won't list them all off, but many that aren't transverse. But we had annexed 50% of that road total between it. So I think we are contractually obligated to take on these roads pursuant to the ISBA. Should you fail to annex them, I don't know what the ramification of that is. I think you would be not in compliance with the agreement, and where does that lead you? I don't know. And we won't, pontification on what the county will sue us, and are they going to take away the annexations that we've done? Probably not, but the cure is probably going to be some big, long, litigious process where we're forced to take what's before you tonight. So A, we have to do it. B, what is the concern with, what kind of cost do we have associated with taking these roads on? That was the specific conversation with Commissioner Cannell this afternoon. The number that we came up with was about 20 to 25 grand annually to take on these roads. But I think that's a bit of a misnomer too. Most of these roads, and let me say that that's probably a reasonable number, but it's a misnomer in that it's not going to be on you're not going to see an annual basis that those funds going out. So budgetarily wise, it's not going to have an impact. But when these roads do, say 5, 10 years, when this road needs an overlay, you're going to see us spend 100 or 300 grand on this road all at once. You divide that over the course of the life of the road, you're looking at that number. I don't think that this is a financial burden for us. A, it's contractual, and B, over the course of time, I don't see that these are major concerns. I won't speak to Commissioner Cannell's concerns. He'll bring those up. I do think that the commissioner was concerned about, what if we have to widen these type of roads, those type of concerns. I don't see that as a greater concern. Most of the design of the concepts that we have, we see exits, major primary exits onto other county roads or the 27. So I don't see we're going to have a backlog as a major problem of a take or a force to take. And if we do, then I think we probably have other planning processes or other PUDs that will come up along these roads where we can do a take or a sign widening or other projects. So I'm not saying we don't have that exposure, but today I'm not overly concerned about it. So the action is to accept these roads which were triggered by the ISBA.
Well, thank you. He touched on several of my concerns. I mean, there's an annual maintenance, $25,000. Like you said, an overlay of one of them, maybe $300,000. If the roads ever need to be widened, my understanding through conversation with the city manager is that the county transportation fees would not be available to us to widen these roads since they're not county roads. So therefore, that cost would fall 100% on our taxpayers. It goes back to what I've been saying for years is growth is not paying for itself. If we had to widen these roads or even overlay them, those expenses are coming from our taxpayers. The majority of our taxpayers don't want all this growth. And to burden them with forcing them to pave roads or widen roads to accommodate growth they don't want is ridiculous. I understand we're stuck here because of the agreement we have with the county, but I really would caution the city in the future on annexations to really keep this in mind that you're absorbing forever cost by taking these roads, by annexing all this property on these roads. And you're saddling our taxpayers with paying for them. The taxpayers don't want them to start with. So, I mean, I'm guessing, Grant, we don't have the option to not accept these roads. But in the future, I really would like the commission to consider on all these annexations, it's just not the traffic that's one of the issues that all these houses cause, but it's the additional incurring cost every year to accept these roads from the county and to maintain them and to widen them or whatever we might have to do that's going to be charged to our taxpayers to take care of it.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, that's, as Al had said, there is a provision in the ISBA that addresses annexations and roads that need to be taken on by the different cities that are parties to the agreement with regard to the annexations and when they hit that 50% trigger. And we did look at that with the 48 issue that came up, before and kind of examine that provision. And so, yeah, it is in there, and it's something that we've got to comply with. I don't recall if maybe there's a dispute resolution process, if there's a disagreement among the parties as far as how that plays out. I don't have the ISBA in front of me. I apologize, but it is true. There is that provision in the agreement. That's what triggered this, and so there is that obligation on the city's part to comply with what it said it would do.
So would you feel like, in your opinion, legal opinion, we have to accept these, or is this something we can postpone for a couple weeks for you to research it to see if we can have a way to not accept them?
I mean, if we postpone it for 2 weeks to look at the ISBA and everything, it doesn't upset me. I don't think it necessarily upsets the timing on anything. I do think as we sit here that we're probably up against the wall on that. I'm not very hopeful that I'm gonna find anything from what we had looked at before, but I'm absolutely happy to look at that deeper in the next couple of weeks and report back at the next meeting.
Okay. Well, then I would, if anybody, someone else?
I just have one question. Does the agreement deal with the split of impact fees? I mean, we're taking on the roads because we've approved
No,
development.
the impact fees are county road collector road impact fees. So that squarely goes to the county. They're the county's impact fees, not the city's. And the agreement's pretty explicit.
Okay,
It says,
okay.
we will take the roads.
You see where I was going with that question.
Well, I think,
We're taking responsibility for the road. I wish the agreement spoke to some kind of share on revenue.
I think from the county perspective, you know, the concept, look, this portion of the ISBA was approved by nobody sitting at this table. Okay, I think it was approved in October of 2013 was when the date that actually Commissioner Campione as chair signed the document. And in 2013, the contemplation was not massive growth. The contemplation of that agreement was as the county seeking growth, as well as the county being not the political subdivision of Lake County, but the region of going through a recession, going through a no-growth time period, understanding that at that time, the construction industry and the service economy of the region was significant, that the agreement was birthed with the concept of how do we plan. So contrary to popular belief, the ISBA is actually a planning document. And it shared responsibilities of how to plan for future growth, and its major contemplation was how to plan for fire services. So it was knowing that the city's not in knowing that the county's not in the utility business, you know, let's form these boxes. We call it inter-service boundary agreements on what city is going to take care of these areas. And through annexation, the city would do this, the county would do that. So it was a quid pro quo. So one of the trade-offs was non-contiguous annexation, provided cities are going to cover some of the roads. And I think that my opinion is that document contemplated that it wasn't shifting arterial roads. It was shifting smaller roads. So if you go look at the name on that list, Jimmy, you've got it handy. So, you know, these roads, you know, I understand the concerns. Bridges Road from US 27 to the Turnpike. That's a little stubby section right now that there's not a lot of growth on and that probably won't need widening because it's a transversal road. Busby Road, again, Dewey Robbins, Duncan Road, Farney Road, number 2, Poe Windmill. So, you know, I'm not poo-pooing that there's not a potential problem, but the contemplation is these roads in the future are going to work more like local roads, which would be our responsibility to manage. So that's the contemplation of the agreement. Did I answer your question? I don't know if I did or not, but at the end of the day, I mean, we agreed to that in 2013. And you know, there's really no getting out of that.
Yeah, no, all I was asking
so
was,
we can put it off for 2 weeks,
If
but
there's
we're
no-
going to come back with the same answer.
Yeah, there's
you
no-
got to take the road.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely a
And-
component of having to take roads in that agreement for sure. It's just.
And so we've beat the county up, I think, pretty successfully on what roads we are willing to take. And if you notice, this list is substantially shorter than the one I think we presented to you back in August or September. Sometime this late summer, early fall, we presented you a list of roads that, you know, my hair was on fire in a couple, and we had a long conversation about that's a county road. That agreement being the ISBA doesn't contemplate 48. That's a county road. It stays a county road forever. I think the county has now accepted that, and so the list that you have is after our response back to them, you know, 4 months later. So unfortunately, it's not fresh in our minds, but 4 months later, okay, the county's like, okay, we see what your point. Here's the road you need to take. Upon our review, we're like, yep, those are the ones we need to take.
No, I think you've done a good job on it, and if I just want to bring up the funding issue, be sure we were crystal clear on that in this agreement. If you're clear on that, there's no way to share revenue, then we don't need to kick this thing down the road.
There is no contemplation in the ISBA about money.
Okay.
So because there is the lack of contemplation about money in the ISBA, that means we go the course. And the course is they collect impact. Actually, we collect it for them, technically.
Right.
And then we deliver it to the county. Then the county spends it on roads. And remember, they have the district plan. And again, I keep harping back to this. You know, you don't see massive county road construction because the county hasn't collected massive amounts of impact fees in our district. We're the biggest city in our district, and we still grow at about 30 units a month. So that's not a whole lot of collector road impact fee money to go towards these improvements. Now, if you look at South Lake, that's a totally different animal. They've collected millions of dollars, and you see in their 5-year program how they programmed it out. So the agreement doesn't speak to money, which means they get to keep their collector road impact fee monies that we collect and transmit to them for their roads, and we have to use our general fund dollars or our local option gas fund dollars to do road improvement projects or maintenance or improvements or widening, or, you know, our strategy is to try to get the developers to do as much road construction as possible
Yeah,
through the
I'm fine.
PUDs, which that is in your PUDs.
Yeah.
So we are pushing off road construction as much as we can in our PUDs.
No, I appreciate that. You helped me right there. So there's no reason to kick this can down the road. If we were ever to renegotiate this ISBA in any form or fashion, I would hope we could maybe try to tweak the impact fees and splitting taxes differently, but that's another day.
I'll just end it with that open-ended. The ISBA retires in 2033.
So is it possible to have more roads added to that by then, within that time frame?
Yes, as you know, there is a possibility as we continue to annex that we're going to trip the 50% threshold. There's a couple roads on here technically where we don't trip the 50% threshold. I think Poe Road is one of those, but we know that we will, or it's arguable that we already have. That, frankly, that was brought to my attention by planning and zoning. And my administrative recommendation to you is we've already tripped that threshold. There's certain roads that we might as well go ahead and take now. And those are de minimis on the list, by the way. But the roads that are on your list are bona fide roads that were tripped by the ISBA that need to become city roads pursuant to the agreement that was dated back to October of 2013.
Thank you very much.
By the way, too, I understand, and Commissioner, please don't take offense. I understand the want of a delay, but I'm also going to tell you, I think if you delay that, I don't think that sends the right message to the county. I've been asked on more than one occasion about the status of this since I received the email from the county attorney. I told her we would expedite it. It's been on the table. So I think if we try to stall it, the answer is there are roads to take.
I just want 100% opinion that we have to take these because I'm opposed to taking them. It's an additional burden on our taxpayers to maintain, widen, resurface, or whatever these things forever. And the developers are long gone, so our existing taxpayers are going to have to pay for these things. But obviously, if we have to do it, we have to do it, but I want to make sure 100% we do.
The question I had for Al at the last meeting was whether or not we've tripped the 50% threshold on those roads.
We've tripped the 50% threshold.
And that was really it.
I mean,
it again was pretty clear that once you hit that 50%, you've got to take the road.
We've weaved out the questionable roads.
So like I said, my main thing was, because it was talking as though this is all ISBA roads, wanted to make sure it was all ISBA roads and that the threshold was there, and if we were there, I didn't really have any concerns.
Okay.
Not to muddy the water too much, but we have about 7 community development districts within PUDs we've planned now. That right?
Pretty much
Something like-
every PUD that we have done is flipping over, and then
Right.
we're forming a CDD. Mhm.
Yeah, so in those CDDs, when those roads start to have problems, are they the city of Leesburg's problem?
It
Or-
depends. Unfortunately, the answer is it depends. Some of the PUDs were written such that we didn't take dedication.
Right, that's what I thought.
Then we got into kind of a pattern where we have where the language in the paragraph has always been may. And so some PUDs, Arlington Ridge, for example,
Inside the city.
yeah, Arlington Ridge, for example, I don't think we have those roads, but that was a one that was a may. Lake Denham Estates, those are ones I think where again, we haven't taken dedication. We forced the developer to fix some stuff, but I assume they're probably going to be coming to us now that they have been fixed. And then there's been different subdivisions where we've set it up. So it's a may. And it's really incumbent upon the developers to come in and remind us that, hey, dedicate these roads. And that answer back to you is going to be it depends. Some of the projects, Public Works, since we've kind of taken a different approach of, it's all going to be our problem someday, we might as well just take these in. We've paid a little more attention to road construction, just so we know that when it's taken, that it's done. So it at this stage, I'm going to say it's incumbent upon those developers that once they get their sign off and their COs on housing, that they come back and execute their deed of dedications.
Can we get a motion and second for, was that already done? So, okay, so 5C9. So, will someone please introduce 5C? Oh, excuse me, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman? Yes. Commissioner Connell?
Unfortunately, yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Will someone please introduce 5C10?
I'll introduce 5C10, be read by title only.
Yes, I pulled this.
Gotta read it first.
Go ahead, excuse me.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, waiving and releasing a code enforcement fine and lien against the property located at 1215 West Dixie Avenue, Leesburg, Florida, 34748, alternate key number 1653916, owned by Robert G. Hicks, trustee, authorizing execution of any documents necessary to release the fine and lien and providing an effective date.
For approval?
Second.
Yes, I was just trying to ask if there was an error or something on our end for as code enforcement, and why were we pulling this? And
Yeah.
do we have a dollar amount of fines, or?
I don't have the dollar number's pretty high at this point. This one's been going on for a little while, probably about a year and a half, something like that. We've had a couple of orders, we've had an appeal, we've got arguments about whether notice was given, we've got arguments about whether he was originally directed to put the vehicles there to assist with some other problems that were ongoing on the property. A lot of arguments, a lot of time, a lot of money to be spent if we continue arguing about all of these things. And so the discussion was basically had of trying to encourage this property owner to fix the problem that the city had, which he's now done, thankfully. And so the problem's been solved. And the suggestion was, if you'll solve the problem, then we'll try and solve your problem, or we'll at least bring your problem to the attention of the commission and see if the commission's receptive to that. So really, it's just been a litigious situation. We've kind of found a point now where the property owner has come into compliance. They've kind of come around here, done what we've asked them to do, and so the request was to waive the fines that had been accruing against the property and avoid the ongoing dispute, basically.
But we don't know how much the fines were.
It was $100 a day.
Yeah,
It's
it
been
was-
going for a year and a half.
It was a big number because it went on for a while, and a big number's probably, we're talking thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was it a situation where the person wasn't notified? or-
No, we will argue about that. And
Okay.
so just,
Gotcha. Okay.
so here's where we're at. Remember, the code enforcement fines are a tool to get compliance. They're not a revenue-making tool. I don't think a governing body should look at code enforcement fines to be a general revenue of the city. It's a punitive issue. We are going to fine you X number of dollars a day until you fix that problem. And when that problem is fixed, it's right and it is appropriate for the governing body then to waive those fees. Where we start getting into circumstances where I hate to say this, but I'm going to coin it this way, where we're the financial beneficiary of code enforcement problems has been a death, a change in ownership, something that stays on title where the problem has never been fixed. And then that's where the long arm of government reaches out and grabs you and we foreclose on a property and we take it in lieu of the fine. That is not this case. This case is, for lack of better words, but to just communicate clearly, stubborn property owner, not working with code enforcement doing their job, ultimately code situation correct and abated, therefore the fine should go away. And the only authority who can remove fines is this body, and that's why this matters before you. So our staff recommendation is to follow the attorney's advice and waive the fines.
Yeah, and the
Problem
owner,
fixed.
the owner's
We
an
move on
attorney
to the
too,
next
so
day.
he can, he's an attorney, so he can argue it, I mean, it's still opportunity cost, but it doesn't cost him money out of pocket.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable
That's-
point too. He is a lawyer,
Okay.
and so that
That's
keeps
clear.
this
Thank you.
going on and on.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my question would be is, and I agree, I mean, the ultimate of code enforcement is to gain compliance and not really looking code enforcement to drain somebody of all their money. But something that's drug on for a year and a half, that obviously the owner was aware of it at some point and failed to address it. I don't think it's unreasonable to say, okay, we'll reduce the fine, but the fine goes down to offset the cost of the city of what we have in administrative costs on employees, I mean, staff time, attorney, legal stuff, mailing. I don't think that's asking too much for him to at least satisfy what the city has in it to get to this point.
That's a good point.
Do you want a rough number?
Yeah, if you got one.
$1,500.
Okay, well, then,
How much, Al?
$1,500.
okay, well, then reduce it down to 1,500, but I think you should reimburse the city for what the city has in expense in this.
I think you bring it.
Well, I was just asking, because, I mean, if it was an issue where there was an error on code enforcement or something, but if they never received the information, that's one thing,
I
but,
don't think so. I mean, again, everybody says different things. I support code enforcement on what they've done throughout.
Well, then I'd make a motion to reduce it down to the 1,500 to cover the cost of what the city has involved in it.
Second.
Just before you vote, that would be an amendment to the motion on the floor.
Yes, it would.
All in favor?
yes, so there's been a motion and a second, on the amendment. Can we get a vote, please?
Commissioner Reisman? Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Now may we get a motion on the amended? Can we make a motion on the amended
I'll move to approve
C and
the amended motion.
Second.
it's been moved and properly second, and may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. How you want to do it now? Okay. Oh, all right. I need to make an amended motion on this.
Yeah,
one.
you need to ask the body.
Yes. I failed to pull one of the items on 5C7, I just had a few questions in reference to. So I'd like to make an amendment to the motion to pull 5C7 for questions.
So
Second.
moved.
Vote.
May we have a roll call, please?
I mean, we have to vote on that?
This is
So
a,
she can
this
talk-
is a
Yes,
motion.
vote on that.
Yeah, so this is, so the mayor wants a motion to reconsider item number 7.
Right.
That's the motion,
We have a
Andy.
motion and a second.
It's got a first, yeah, so you got to
Motion
vote on the
to-
reconsideration motion. A motion to reconsider
5C7.
items.
5C7.
5C7.
Yes. Okay,
Okay, so vote on that.
yes.
So did we get the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Good, good.
Who, did you second
Second
first?
Alan.
I
you
said-
I made it.
And I said,
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Mayor Berry?
yes.
But we had no discussion.
Okay, so number 7 is now unapproved. So we need a motion to read it.
I'll introduce 5C7 to be read by title only.
Andy,
Yes, sir.
read again. Read number 7.
Okay, he made a motion. Who did second?
I did.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, you introduced, I'm sorry. 5C7, resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, establishing rental rates for sports complexes throughout Leesburg and providing an effective date.
Move for approval?
Second.
Now I'm back.
I have a question, please, very short, minor. In the presentation that's in the detail, it was a notice, a note stating that for the proposed rates for Sleepy Hollow, estimated revenue would be $20,000 and Susan Street $40,000. And this was all based on estimates in which we're looking for as far as rental fees. And I just would like to know, as far as the recorded, would these dollars come back to the general fund, or will they go back to CRAs where we
That's a
borrowed
general
from?
revenue.
General
General
revenue.
revenue of the city.
Okay.
Yes.
So
It
that's
won't
just
go back to
what-
the CRAs.
All right.
Even though the
we
CRA,
borrowed and
even
stuff,
though
is
the
that-
CRA is paying for it, it's located within the CRA district. It's allocated, the construction project with CRA dollars, so that is a CRA operation. But the maintenance and operation of the facility is an SOP, standard operating procedure, which would fall under recreation, which is in the general fund. You could ultimately probably peck out some maintenance dollars from the CRA and plug it back over into do a transfer, but I'm going to recommend forget all that. You grab the capital dollars. That was a reasonable expense. It's going to be operated and run
By the
through the
city.
general fund, so those revenues should go into the general fund of the city.
So far as whatever TIF money comes through, would that still go to the CRA, or would that come to the general fund? Just trying to
The
figure out how.
TIF money stays in the CRA and is paying for the capital dollars.
Yes. And then
And
whatever.
then that's it. It's
Yeah.
done.
So
Then
whatever,
the operation goes to the general fund, so the miscellaneous revenues they pick up from user fees would go into the general fund of the city and then subsidize the recreation department for the maintenance and operations of the park.
and as we grow and the area gets populated and more people come and visit, that's more revenue for general fund that we can then pay back some of the funds that's on the CRA area, or do they remain only in the CRA?
Okay, that was a double question.
know, it
All right,
was,
so
yeah.
I will answer it double. Yes, the money would be eligible to go back to and repay the CRA. You will never collect enough
I know.
revenue to do that, even if we grow tremendously. Those projects are always going to be a loss leader. Those honestly are nuisance fees, but we have those fees in
Okay,
place for
that's what you're
use to
saying.
help cover some of our costs. I don't think you will ever see a day and time where any of our recreational facilities cover their own costs, and they are subsidized by other general revenues of the city and probably will in perpetuity.
Okay, and even though there were two CRAs, it doesn't matter, we just still have to put everything in general funds, far as how we anticipate it.
I don't like the way you asked that question
Okay.
because you said have to. And as soon
Well-
as you say have to, that changes the answer. So no, we don't have to
do-
put it in the
okay.
general fund, but our recommendation is to put it in the general fund.
Okay, all righty. Just want to be clear on that. then.
Because it's a loss leader and you'll never get back the capital investment.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you. So are there no more to be pulled? So we need to do a roll call?
Commissioner Peterson? Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Con?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Berry?
Yes. And now, can we move on, please, to our public hearings and non-routine items? Oof. During public hearings and non-routine items, the commission requests that those in attendance respect the process and maintain order. As such, in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, please refrain from speaking out, cheering, or applauding during these proceedings. Your cooperation helps ensure a fair and respectful hearing. City Attorney, would you please swear in any participants wishing to?
Thank you,
Speak.
Madam Mayor. Anyone here this evening, city staff or in the audience, if you plan to present any testimony this evening, if you would please, and the hearing cases are 6A3, Lake Margaretta Phase 2 PUD rezoning, 6A9, Cronin Dewey Robbins Residential SPUD rezoning. If you would please stand and raise your right hand so you could be sworn in. You swear or affirm that all testimony you'll give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. All right, very good. Thank you all.
So read ordinances 1, 2, and 3.
Will someone please
I'll introduce,
We're on
six?
6A, 1, 2, 3.
I'll introduce 6A123 to be read by title only.
6A1, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, annexing certain real property consisting of approximately 25.07 plus minus acres, being generally located south of County Road 48, east of Number 2 Road, and west of Trimpe Road, lying in Section 20, Township 20 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, providing that said property so annexed shall be liable for its proportionate share of the existing and future indebtedness of said city, providing that such annexed property shall be subject to all laws and ordinances of said city, as if all such territory had been a part of the city of Leesburg at the time of passage and approval of said laws and ordinances, providing that such annexed territory shall be placed in City Commission District 3, and providing an effective date. 6A2, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the city of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain real property consisting of approximately 25.07 plus minus acres, being generally located south of County Road 48, east of Number 2 Road, and west of Trimpe Road, lying in Section 20, Township 20 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6A3, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 25.07 plus minus acres from Lake County R1 Rural Residential to City of Leesburg PUD Planned Unit Development to allow for 75 single-family homes for a property generally located south of County Road 48, east of Number 2 Road, and west of Trimpe Road, lying in Section 20, Township 20 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval?
Second.
Dan, will you please do presentation, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning. This is the Lake Margaretta Phase 2 project. It consists of an annexation, small-scale comp plan, and rezoning of about 25.07 plus or minus acres, generally located on the south side of County Road 48 and east of Number 2 Road. Project is contained entirely with the existing approved Lake Margaretta Phase 1 project. The request is for approval of a future development for single-family dwelling units that blend into the density of the surrounding approved project, kind of filling a hole in the donut, as you can see here, Lake Margaretta Phase 2 in the burnt orange color up there. Under this request, the future land use application for the project is requesting a change from Lake County rural transition to City of Leesburg estate residential. The zoning application for the project is requesting a change from Lake County R1, which is their rural residential, to City of Leesburg planned unit development. We received no substantive comments from the city departments. The school board noted the applicant will be required to obtain a school concurrency reservation letter, which reserves capacity for the schools. And if at the time of development adequate school capacity is not available, the project would be subject to a school board City of Leesburg mitigation agreement. Lake County Public Works did not have any comments on the project. Under public responses, we actually received no written responses to the ads and letters that were sent out. Under the terms of the SPUD agreement, the project consists of a total of, give or take, it's going to be 70 residents. And what we're saying is as long as it mixes into the same level of density as the Margarita 1 project. So we're anticipating around 70 within that number, depending on the engineering. No other uses are permitted. These are all single-family detached. The project proposal will include design standards for the architecture, which are included and are shown in the exhibits. A minimum 35% open space, dark sky lighting, code-compliant landscaping are all required, as well as the use of either Bahia or Bermuda grass, which reduces water consumption compared to this St. Augustine standard. The maximum building height is 2 floors. There are gutters required for side yards of less than 5 feet, and there are facade samples in your packets. Under site access, it's shown on the plan. Again, as it integrates into the larger project, they'll be using the same access points. The PUD does require the developer to provide any and all expansions or upgrades to the access points and as needed and required by FDOT and/or Lake County. And if the city takes that road, then I guess it'll be the city at that point. Under recreation, there's 2.7 acres of recreation required. And this includes the primary recreation area with the 3 amenities, which are a swimming pool, children's playground, and dog park. And that's also a part of the larger Lake Margaretta PUD project. All the utilities have to be on City of Leesburg water and wastewater, so there's no wells or septic. And our utility services have indicated that there is capacity to serve this project. And then finally, there is a phasing or expiration clause which requires that development move forward with substantial commencement within 4 years, or the property zoning will revert to the RE1 zoning standards. And the zoning won't revert, just the standards, and that would be 1 acre per unit. So they have 4 years, if approved today, to move forward. Planning Commission did recommend approval on this one, and I believe Mr. Tom Daly of Daly Design Group is here as well, if there are any comments or questions. No, sir, I told you the wrong one. I apologize. This one was approved. The other 2 were the 3 threes.
Good evening. My name is Tom Daly with Daly Design Group at 913 North Pennsylvania Avenue, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I gave a brief presentation at the first reading. Dan's pretty much said everything, so I'm here to really answer any questions you might have.
Does anyone have any questions?
Gospel Road runs through this subdivision?
No, Gospel Road was a county easement that's an access to the Orange property that's there. Now that we're incorporating that into it, we're going to vacate that easement. The only properties that are accessed by Gospel Hill are the areas that are in the Orange Lake Mare, which is what we're talking about tonight.
Okay. And then the 2 parcels, then the other 2 parcels are access off the other road?
Everything accesses off of the main entrance.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you.
No.
Maybe open up to public comments. Any comments?
My name is Mario Napa. I live in Legacy of Leesburg. And I would like to read the letter from Kirby Smith to Mayor Berry, and I think you all received comments as well, an email as well. Dear Mayor Berry, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, I am reaching out to you regarding concerns associated with the annexation of the above-mentioned property. And the rest of that paragraph just discusses the location of the property. Then it goes on to say, Lake County is opposed to the annexation of this property into the municipal limits for the purpose of increasing residential density in the area. Leesburg previously annexed a significant amount of property along Number 2 Road, including Lake Margaretta Phase 1 and Eagle Tail. If the City Council determines that the annexation is appropriate and that the infrastructure is needed to serve this level of overall density will be provided, understanding that the City Council will be considering accepting jurisdiction and ownership of Number 2 Road from County Road 48 to the terminus of the ISBA boundary. I guess that happened tonight. The board is requesting that Lake Margaretta property provide 50% open space in lieu of the proposed 35. Your consideration of the Lake County's concerns is appreciated, and I look forward to working with you to make Lake County the best it can be. Let me know if you have any questions or need any additional information. Kirby Smith. I have a couple of comments of my own. When the original project was presented before the P&Z Commission, Dan Miller stated that the county was requesting a traffic light be put at County Road 48 and Number 2 Road, and that Number 2 Road be widened for the entire length of the development. But I never heard anything since. But now that's Number 2 Road is going to be a city road. Are you going to still require that traffic light? And I'd like to know the status of that. And then at the county council meeting last year, there was a proposal made by the developer to add a section to Margaretta Estates in the unincorporated section of Lake County to the right of what you see there, which is contiguous with the section in Leesburg. And their earlier map had a point designated which said potential connection to Lake County. According to Kirby Smith, this has not moved forward. For transparency, I would like to hear from the developer what their plans are for this, since it will add to traffic and infrastructure demands on the city of Leesburg. Thank you.
Is there anybody else, or can I?
You can go ahead. That
Okay,
was the
all
only-
right, thank you. I was not aware of the email that Commissioner Smith put out, and I'm also not aware that the County Board of County Commissioners came up with any action, meaning I think Commissioner Smith, my understanding of what I just heard was this is an opinion by one commissioner, but the Board of County Commissioners did not take a formal action. I would have been notified, I would hope. But anyways, again, this is all within the ISBA, clearly within the ISBA, and it just kind of fills out the center portion of this property. And so we're here to seek approval.
What about the land to the east of this that you would potentially try to annex?
We can't annex that property because it's outside of the ISBA. We had shown access to that property for the benefit of that landowner, but we cannot annex that into the county, into the city. I shouldn't be talking back and
Yes.
forth. I
Please direct
understand that.
questions to the commission. Yes.
I'm
please.
sorry. His question was about access to the east, and we had shown access to the east to the benefit of the landowner there, but we can't annex that into the city, and so that's not really part of this process.
Are there any more public comments? Questions? Seeing none?
I have a question for Dan. Clarification, Dan, because there was two different statements made. The letter that Commissioner Smith wrote, was that on his behalf only, or was that on behalf of the county commission?
I have not seen that letter.
Does anybody have a copy of it?
I watched them, yeah.
Yep.
I went out to, that's why I left. I went out to grab the letters because at the request of Mr. Napa, and I'm assuming he read the whole letter?
Yes.
Pretty close.
Okay.
We all got copied of it.
Yeah.
I just-
Yeah, the committee, and just for the public, we received a letter, and I'm going to answer your question, Commissioner. Okay, so just in spirit of full disclosure. So, yeah, we did receive a letter from the BOCC in opposition to the annexation that we're discussing at hand. There wasn't a formal, that I recall, a formal vote. I saw a clip of the meeting. It was done by consensus basis on the BOCC, that there was a general consensus of, yes, let's send it, because it's been SOP the last year or so for the BOCC to review all annexations throughout the county, and then they opine on it and send a letter out if they're in opposition to such. So while there wasn't a formal make a motion to send Leesburg a letter, it was done by general consensus of the BOCC. So in this particular case, on this letter, I would assume that the letter represents the entire opinion of the BOCC. I don't think that's the case for all the letters, but on this one, yes.
Can we go ahead and move for a roll call? Oh,
Another comment?
yes.
Is it possible to make another comment?
Can you make another
It's up to
question?
you.
It's you can, so. Jay had a question, yeah, another 3 minutes.
I was not suggesting that you're going to try to annex that land into the city. Obviously, it's outside the ISBA, but there was shown a connection point so that if you develop that land, that you would access through the city of Leesburg. That was my question. I would just like to know if that's going to happen, or you're thinking of that happening. It's not, they took it off the drawing here. Your previous drawing showed that location. You're familiar with that? Yes. And so my question is, if you do develop that land, would you access it through the city of Leesburg? That was my question.
We have no intention of developing that land at this point. The access was shown for the benefit of that particular landowner.
No further question. Did you have another question?
Yeah, I do want to make a statement
Okay.
before you take it to vote. I don't know
Okay,
where
go
you're at with it. Again, we're talking about, I think it's 75 more units on a 2-lane road again, so it's just adding additional traffic issues. The MPO was up here tonight basically saying that they have no long-term plan at all to address 27 from 48 to Dixie, no plans at all in the books. And we're going to, I mean, every one of these little subdivisions is adding additional traffic to a stretch of road that at least some of us tonight acknowledge is a problem. And the MPO has no interest for it at all. There's nothing on the books for it. The county commission has asked us not to do this. I think with all that said, with the MPO having no long-term plans to address South 27, the county commission is asking us not to do it. 48 is another 2-lane road. I just don't think we need to continue to annex property down in this area and continue to add to a problem that we acknowledge we have.
Are there any more comments from the commission? Statements? None from the public, seeing none? Can we do a roll call?
Commissioner Reisman? Commissioner Connell?
No.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 6A4, 6A5?
No, you gotta do.
Okay, excuse me. Oh, so it's 2 and 3, excuse me.
So you've already read that, so ask
Yes,
for the vote.
we'll go ahead and do a roll call for 6A2, please.
Commissioner Connell?
No on the density.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. And would you also do a roll call for 6A3?
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
No.
Mayor Barry?
Yes.
Read off
Yes. Yes, I'd like someone to introduce, please, 6A4, 6A5, and 6A6.
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title on 6A4, 5, and 6.
6A4, excuse me. An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, annexing certain real property consisting of approximately 202.6 plus minus acres, being generally located east of County Road 33 and south of Lake Bright Street and west of County Road 33 and south of Desert Lane, lying in Section 3, Township 21 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, providing that said property so annexed shall be liable for its proportionate share of the existing and future indebtedness of said city, providing that such annexed property shall be subject to all laws and ordinances of said city, as if all such territory had been a part of the City of Leesburg at the time of passage and approval of said laws and ordinances, providing that such annexed territory shall be placed in City Commission District 4 and providing an effective date. 6A5, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 202.6 plus minus acres from Lake County Rural to City of Leesburg Estate Residential for property generally located east of County Road 33 and south of Lake Bright Street and west of County Road 33 and south of Desert Lane, lying in Section 3, Township 21 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6A6, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 202.6 plus minus acres from Lake County A Agriculture to City of Leesburg PUD, Planned Unit Development, to allow for 502 single-family residential lots for property generally located east of County Road 33 and south of Lake Bright Street and west of County Road 33 and south of Desert Lane, lying in Section 3, Township 21 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Motion to continue this to April 13th, 2026 at 5:30 here at City Hall for 6A4, 5, and 6.
Yes, and can I turn it over to our city manager at this time? Oh, Mike.
Second.
Yeah, just for a brief explanation, we counted our days wrong. This is long and short of it. So I think we had enough time for advertisement, but in our count, we didn't include the time we needed to hear back from the state. So we scheduled this hearing too early. So just as a matter of procedure, to preserve the proper process, you open this item this evening and we're asking you to table it. That preserves the time frame. But I'm also going to instruct Dan to send out another public notice.
We have
That
been
one's-
working with the city clerk's
that one-
office
and that
already.
one's that's on us. That's not on the developer because staff erred. But I don't want the public to think that, this is a trick. We messed up. We counted days wrong. So we're doing both processes. We're preserving it by opening it and tabling it to date certain in the public hearing, but then we'll also send out another public notice. So and this, for those in the audience, this is concerning obviously the Brighurst annexation and land use on 33. So it will be heard in its final chapter on Monday, April 13th. So unfortunately, you got to come back
At 5:30.
5:30. So and with that, if you vote on the matter to table it till date certain, Monday, April 13th, Leesburg City Commission Chambers.
May I get a roll call?
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Berry?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 6A7,
I'll introduce 6A7, 8, and 9.
8,
And
and
be read by
9?
title
Thank you.
only.
6A7, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, annexing certain real property consisting of approximately 9.26 plus minus acres, being generally located north of Dewey Robbins Road and east of U.S. Highway 27, lying in Section 31, Township 20 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, providing that said property so annexed shall be liable for its proportionate share of the existing and future indebtedness of said city, providing that such annexed property shall be subject to all laws and ordinances of said city, as if all such territory had been a part of the City of Leesburg at the time of passage and approval of said laws and ordinances, providing that such annexed territory shall be placed in City Commission District 4 and providing an effective date. 6A8, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 9.26 plus minus acres from Lake County Rural to City of Leesburg Estate Residential for property generally located north of Dewey Robbins Road and east of U.S. Highway 27, lying in Section 31, Township 20 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6A9, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 9.26 plus minus acres from Lake County A agriculture to City of Leesburg SPUD, small planned unit development, to allow for single-family residential uses for property generally located north of Dewey Robbins Road and east of U.S. Highway 27, lying in Section 31, Township 20 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Dan, would you please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the Cronin Dewey Robbins residential project consisting of annexation, small-scale comp plan, and rezoning on 9.26 plus or minus acres, generally located north of Dewey Robbins Road and east of U.S. Highway 27. Request for future development consisting of 26 single-family units. Under this request, the future land use application of the project is requesting a change from Lake County Rural to City of Leesburg Estate Residential. The zoning application is requesting a change from Lake County A Agriculture to City of Leesburg SPUD. We received no substantive comments from the city departments. We did receive from the public numerous written responses to the request. From the advertisement, posted signs, and SPO letters surrounding property owner letters. Among their concerns and comments were 99% of the residents that live on Dewey Robbins and Turkey Lake Road enjoy wildlife, peace, and tranquility. Hodges Reserve isn't conforming to Dewey Robbins Road or the area. You're ruining Dewey Robbins Road. City of Leesburg's ruining our area. Leave the county areas alone. Number of homes and lot sizes are too small. Ranch-style homes on 1 acre lots would be better. Again, that's just a summary, but there was more than that. Under the terms of the SPUD agreement, you have 26 single-family detached single-family homes on the 9.26 acres. No other uses are permitted. The project proposal is standard PUD, which includes the architecture, 35% open space, dark sky lighting, code-compliant landscape plan, and Bermuda or Bahia grass, maximum height 2 floors, gutters required on any side lot less than 7.5 feet. 6-foot privacy fence required on the east and west, 4-foot split rail on Dewey Robbins Road. There's one access point on Dewey Robbins Road, and the PD would require the developer to make any improvements to Dewey Robbins Road and the access point as needed. There is a requirement for 5,200 square feet of park and recreation land. Of course, all the utilities, as always, are on the city, water and wastewater, so there's no wells or septic here. And then finally, we have the standard phasing clause, which is after 4 years, if you haven't substantially commenced, 1 acre per unit. The Planning Commission did recommend disapproval on this one by a 3-3 vote, saying that it was not adjacent to existing development and that it should wait for further development of the area prior to annexing and developing the property. Mr. Mike Rankin of LPG in Tavares is here to speak tonight on behalf of this case.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Rankin.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Miller. For the record, Mike Rankin, Managing Member for Land Planning Group, 9013 Silver Lake Drive, Leesburg, Florida. I'm here representing Mike and Kim Cronin of 6531 Dewey Robbins Road. At this time, I'm going to respectfully request to withdraw this project. This project has a great deal of history. Started with 48 townhomes in 8 buildings with 2 commercial buildings and then 1 daycare. We withdrew that and focused on the 26 lots, the 50s, with a dog park, and a trail. The difficulty for me to do this is, I love this city and I want to see good development occur. I am aware that in the area there are other property owners that have reached out to us. So my hope is, withdrawing this project, we can look at the larger picture of infill. As we all realize, with the city taking on Dewey Robbins Road, that there will probably be additional development there. And I am aware that there are those that have sought out to sell their property near the Cronin's piece. So I respectfully withdraw my application this evening. Be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't think so. I mean, I think if they want to withdraw their application, that's their right to do that. I don't think that there's any vote or action necessary on the city commission's part. Appreciate Mr. Rankin coming up and going through that, but I think if they're voluntarily killing their application, there's nothing that the city needs to do.
I didn't want to flip the chicken switch and send an email or do it over the phone. I wanted to do it in person. I'm a man of integrity, and I wanted to stand in front of you with an explanation, as well as the public.
Items 6, 7, 8, 9 automatically are sunset, so we'll move on to the next items.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Rankin. We'll go to our first reading of ordinances. Would somebody please introduce 6B1?
I'll introduce 6B1 to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, amending Chapter 4, Aircraft and Airports, Article 2, Standards for Operators and Airport Tenants, Section 4-19(c), Leases of the Code of Ordinances to authorized approval of standard lease forms and rent rates for certain airport rentals, and to authorize execution of standard lease forms by the city manager, providing for inclusion in this Code of Ordinances, providing for severability and conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would like the city manager, would you please explain
Yeah,
for
I'll
me?
give you a quick debrief on this. Actually, we have been operating at the airport as far as execution of smaller leases incorrectly, and we've been doing that for about 13 years. So here's how we uncovered the issue. The Airport Advisory Board has been very active in terms of reviewing our leases, wanting to increase rates, making sure that the airport is maximizing as an enterprise fund its profitability. In doing so, we noticed that Section 4-19 of the Code of Ordinance is incorrect pursuant to our procedure. So how'd that occur? Prior to, I think, even me becoming your city manager, the then airport director, Leo Traghi, I believe that was Leo's last name, made a couple of operational changes in that article, Article 19. Before the change, the process was that this body approves major leases. So when you did land deals, when you did longer hangar deals, the Airport Advisory Board made a recommendation. You all acted on that. Then the city manager, pursuant to this ordinance, before it changed, executed standard leases on T hangars and box hangars. Those are simple leases. There's a lot of turnover. I don't want to use a lot, but there's more turnover that it's operational. Somebody coming and going with needing a T hanger for their airplane or a box hanger for their airplane. Typically, these leases don't include employment. They don't include the bigger operational purposes, but it's typically a person and an airplane. So the code allowed the city manager to sign off on those smaller leases, so you all wouldn't have to deal with the typical T hanger lease, and that's good for operations. So we've been operating in that function, and we noticed that Leo not throwing Leo, well, we're throwing Leo under the bus. So we're throwing Leo under the bus. He changed that, and then this body changed that, but we never changed our action. So this ordinance, so the change that Leo made actually made it so that the city commission had to approve everything. So this change actually changes it back to the way that we operated previously and that we continued to operate even though nobody on staff realized that that change was made. So this ordinance promulgates that the commission will approve leases, and it says that the city manager will approve leases for T hangers and box hangers pursuant to prices that the commission will fix pursuant to a resolution. So obviously this is an ordinance that promulgates the process on first reading. So next meeting, you will have this ordinance on second reading and public hearing, as well as the corresponding resolution that promulgates what the prices are for T hangers and box hangers. So when you get that resolution and this ordinance at the next meeting, we're going to ask you to increase rental rates pursuant to the recommendation from the Airport Advisory Board. I will leave it at that for now.
Explanation.
Well, the web's been untangled. You'll argue about whether you want to do the increases or not.
Are there any further questions for? Okay. So we can move to non-routine items. We have none. No informational reports, none. City Attorney, any items?
I don't have anything. I'll just quickly say I'm still looking at some PFAS stuff and trying to get everything in line. We've got a filing deadline of July 1, so we should be in good shape by then. I'm talking to several people, and I'll come back and talk to you guys again when I've got some more information, looking for some approval on some things, all right? Other than that, I've got nothing, and I wish everybody a great time until we meet again.
Thank you. City Manager?
No items.
Roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Bury,
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Peterson,
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Reisman.
You know I always do. Tomorrow is the Safe Haven Baby Box Blessing at the fire station at 1 p.m. Chamber breakfast is this Thursday at 7 a.m. See everyone there. April 2nd, we don't have another meeting before then, is the fish fry at Mount Morris.
Oh, yeah.
So mark your calendars, April 2nd. And then also, if you haven't been following what Leesburg and Bloom is doing, that board is a very active and fast-moving board. And I think they're working with the Lake County Bee Association to get the hives put on the library. So that is happening very soon. So with that, that's all I have.
Mayor Berry.
Yes, I have something, please. This past Saturday, downtown Leesburg was busy. The weather was beautiful, the streets were full, and parking spaces were hard to find, which is always a good sign. The Blooms and Brews drew a great crowd. The line stretched down past 5th Street, almost to the side entrance of City Hall. And over on 3rd Street, VMAX for the Community and Stir Up the Gift had our youth proudly showcasing their talents through singing, dancing, and modeling in Candyland. It was great to see people enjoying our stores and shops and being drawn in the big energy downtown. While the turnout was great, I had one concern. There could have been more visibility support for the young children that were performing. Encouragement matters, applause matters, and these young people are our future, and they deserve to feel that we are behind them 100%. I understand everyone's busy, but we must do better to ensuring unity. It takes all of us, city leadership, business owners, and residents, everyone who understands the meaning of one Leesburg. We cannot move the city forward without each other. So let us continue working together to put this lakefront city on the map as a place where people come not just to live, but to connect, support, and grow together. Thank you. Any more comments? None?
Motion to adjourn.
Please. Yes.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.